Good morning, friends. My name is Ben Johnson from St Mary's Anglican Church in Murbo North, and this week we are talking about gospel unity from Galatians chapter 2, verses 1 to 10. It's part of our series working our way through the letter to the Galatians. Well, in this part of our series, we explore the narrative where Paul travels back to Jerusalem after 14 years of being there because his fruitfulness has been threatened. Not necessarily by those in Jerusalem, but by other opponents to the gospel who claim that all Gentiles must not only follow Jesus, but also convert to Judaism. And so Paul travels back to Jerusalem to have this matter clarified. Not because he's in fear of what they ought to do, but he's in fear for his fruitfulness of his ministry. Because if the epicenter of the Christian faith in Jerusalem does not assist him and come onto his side, then it throws everything into disarray. The stakes are extremely high. Thankfully, we know that those in Jerusalem, the other apostles, were certainly on Paul's side in saying, no, faith in Jesus Christ is enough. And to test this case, Paul takes with him one of his new converts called Titus, who was a Gentile, who has not been circumcised. And Paul's, test of the church in Jerusalem is whether or not they make Titus get circumcised, which they don't. And so we find as we work through this passage that there is now freedom for the church in Galatia. Cultural freedom in that they do not need to convert to the cultural forms of Judaism in order to follow Jesus. There is freedom to still exist within their own culture, and there is also emotional freedom. They do not need to hold the guilt that they are not doing enough or not enough. For we all know that none of us are enough, and Jesus is everything. So in this series, just to recap really quickly, we found that here we find three marks of real unity in the church. Number one, we find that real unity accepts all those who are found in Jesus Christ. All those who love, follow, and know Jesus are united as one. This is a beautiful thing. There are limits, certainly, in that Paul himself has limits. He opposes those who claimed that the Gentiles needed to also convert to Judaism. This unity doesn't extend to everything, but rather it is based upon those who are found in Jesus Christ, those who know, love, and follow the person of Jesus, who have faith in him, are united. That is the central point of what unity works around. So the first mark is accepting all who are found in Jesus Christ. The second mark that we find within this passage of what real unity looks like is recognizing that some people have different callings as well. Unity doesn't make us all the same, no. In fact, it brings us together, but it brings us together within our diversity. A good example here is that Paul himself, I'll wait for this car to go past, just so that you can hear me over it. Paul himself, he has a calling specific to preach and proclaim the gospel to the Gentiles. But we also meet Peter, Cephas. His calling is actually radically different. His calling is to bring the gospel to the Jews. And so unity also recognizes that we have different callings. It does not make us all the same, but rather it takes our diversity and brings us together as one. And finally here, what does real unity look like within the Church of Jesus Christ? Well, Paul is encouraged by the church in Jerusalem to do something that he's already doing. They say, no, you're on the right track, you're doing the right things, we agree with you here, but also remember the poor. Real unity doesn't matter what our diversity looks like, but real unity has a heart, a compassion, a love for the poor within our society, because that's whose God's heart goes out towards as well. We see that time and time again. And so we find that in this particular passage, if you want to understand the marks of real unity within the church, real unity accepts all who are found in Christ Jesus. Real unity recognizes that some have different callings. It doesn't call us all to be identical and the same. And real unity remembers and loves and cares for the poor. Have a wonderful week, my friends. Thanks.